Good evening, everyone. It's Tuesday, September 4th, 2018, and I will call on Wendy Fogard of St. James Church to lead us in our invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, first I want to thank you for the privilege to be here before you and those gathered here to discern your will. I pray in Jesus' name for your wisdom this day in each discussion and in any decision that may follow, that you would clear the minds of each and help them to concentrate on the subjects at hand. I pray that your voice would be heard in their hearts and your will would be accompanied because of this. I thank you especially for the willingness of these to serve your people, Father, the community of Fergus Falls, and the citizens of this great country. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now is when I say it's September 4th, 2018, 5:30, and I'll call this meeting of the Fergus Falls City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Here.
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 We have a quorum. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, and I'll call on Andrew Bremseth, our city administrator. Do we have any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Your Honor, members, we do. Under reports from staff and administrative officers, item number 3 should be a update on the downtown ash tree removal.
Thank you. And with that, I would
Could we
entertain
get
a
an
motion to accept the.
Could we get one more update?
Yes,
please?
Rod?
Could we get an update just on the sound video system, where we're at on that bidding process? I think, find that out.
I don't know if I have that
I
tonight.
say we're not really prepared for
Yep.
that.
So do we have a motion to accept?
I'll offer, Your Honor.
Thank you, Justin. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Jim. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. There are no public hearings this evening. Under awarding of bids, item number 1 is a resolution awarding the bid for public improvement 7199 sanitary improvements on Lincoln Avenue, and I'll call on our city engineer, Brian Yavaro.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor, and good evening. Last Tuesday, sealed bids were opened in the council chambers for public improvement 7199, sanitary sewer improvements on Lincoln, from Generally Broadway to St. Andrews. A total of 2 bids were submitted at the time of the opening. The Meddy and Sons Incorporated submitted the lowest bid, which happens to be bid alternate A, in an amount of $264,266. The engineer's estimate cost for this work was $665,000. I've attached a bid abstract for additional reviews if you prefer to see. Based on that, Interstate Engineering tabulated the bids, conducted a posted bid interview, and I'm proposing that the total project cost with contingencies and engineering design be approximately $360,866. If you can recall, this is a specialized type of project. This is a secure in place pipe liner on the sewer main. However, prior to doing that, we have some 2 open spot repairs that we're going to try to get completed this fall. There will be appropriate traffic control measures up, but we have to have those taken care of before we can do the liner itself. So at this time, I'm requesting award of the construction services agreement to Lemedy and Sons in the amount of $264,266.00.
Thank you, Brian. Are there any questions of our city engineer?
And make that
Now, would
motion.
someone like to offer that resolution? Thank you, Anthony. Rod, second. Roll call, please.
Thompson.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Speedo.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Pepper.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
Rachel.
Yes.
Hooker.
Yes.
That resolution is approved. There are no petitions or communications this evening. Under the consent agenda, there's a copy in your packet. There's also a copy on the board. If anyone wants to discuss any of those items individually, we can pull them. If not, I would entertain a resolution approving the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Brent.
Second, Your Honor.
Thank you, Tom. Roll call, please.
Thompson.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Speedo.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Pepper.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
Rachel.
Yes.
Hooker.
Yes.
That resolution is approved. Under ordinance and resolutions, item number 1 is a second reading of ordinance 73 7th series, amending section 2.75 of the city code pertaining to the Port Authority. That's been discussed at both the Port Authority Committee and the council. If there's any discussion or questions, I'd refer them to our city attorney. If not, roll call, please.
Thompson.
Yes.
Ferguson.
Yes.
Speedo.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Heffernan,
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
Rachel.
Yes.
Rupert.
Yes.
That resolution is approved. I'm sorry, that ordinance is approved. Thank you. Item number 2 is the 2019 budget and levy, and I will call on our city finance director, Bill Sonmore, to give us an overview of the presentation he gave to the committee, to the council earlier.
Thank you, Your Honor. As you said, we just got done. I'm hearing this presentation. And from the discussion that you had at the end of that, I'm looking at amending what's on there for the proposed levy, moving that to $6,367,186. Does that sound right to all of you, what we were talking about, adding $40,000 to that Port Authority budget? That would bring that levy, we were expecting to be a 5.83 to about 6.5% increase. Again, I'll stress, we can come down by December, and of course that will be the goal. But we cannot go up from here, and that's why you as a council are putting that extra 40,000 in, so you have some time you can work with that, with the entire levy, but that dollar amount in particular. The total proposed budget for expenditures being the $46,348,710.
Thank
We would
you.
also-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead,
And we'd
Bill.
also be setting a public meeting where we invite the public to come, give them a chance to speak if they so wish, on December 3rd at the city council meeting here in the city council chambers. And by state law, that needs to start after 6 o'clock p.m.
Anthony, did you have a question?
Yeah, I think we should adopt the 2019 proposed budget to read 46,388,710 to reflect the extra 40,000.
You can do that. You don't necessarily have to,
Right.
but that's up to you. Because certainly it would be within the Port Authority, and we can, of course, change that budget number by December up or down. But
Right.
if you want that in there, I can live with that, so.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, thoughts? Yes, Jim?
What did he just,
Instead of just the 6.5 and it was a number, and you increased the 46.
The proposed budget also.
Let me repeat. So Anthony was offering at our previous meeting to increase the Port Authority revenues by 40,000. Now he's saying add it to the expense as well, so we show it on both sides. Is that a
Correct.
correct
Yep.
synopsis?
Is that a motion, or, I think we have to do a motion on that or something, if we're gonna change it.
We have to adopt the budget.
It'll be in the resolution that you adopt, so if that's how you, but we'll start with the levy as item number 1.
So, first item we need is a resolution approving the city's 2019 tax levy, proposed tax levy. And
Yeah.
that's,
That plus
I'll offer that
40,000.
resolution, Your Honor.
I'll second it, Your Honor.
Justin, discussion? Yes, Scott?
You know, this, adding this 40,000, Port Authority already voted on their budget, and we had a $10,000 increase. Now we gotta go back and vote the 40,000 increase again. And we're looking for money for the dairy, obviously, is what it's gonna be. And I'm not in favor of taxpayer money going this way. I mean, it's just, we have to be out and open about the whole thing. I just don't think this is the right way of doing it. Gonna increase it, how much? It's about a 6.5%?
About that, yes.
Yeah, and so, I know we can come down, and we'll probably argue about it the next 2 months, but I'm just not in favor of doing that, raising it up for that. I'll get plenty of phone calls the way it is, so.
Thanks, Scott. Jim?
and I also will be voting no. What do we have a tax levy committee for? They've already gone through that whole thing. The Port Authority's already set their budget, and now we are adding $40,000 to their budget. They set it. I will vote no.
Thank you, Jim. Any other thoughts?
I just want to make
Discussion,
a
yes,
note,
Rod?
just for Councilman Rachel's, that actually, when Councilman Hicks brought that up, he said it was regarding especially rail transfer and other things, and there are other projects. I know there's some fixation on the dairy, but there are a lot of other projects we can do, and he did mention the rail. I just wanted to clarify that for everyone listening. Wasn't for the dairy in this case.
It isn't, but it's increasing that budget, it's gonna help the dairy, it's gonna give us more money to work with when it comes to write that $175,000 check. So yeah, I agree, it's gonna go help this You say we used it over here, but it just frees up more money for over here. So I think we were just fine with it before, but that's an argument we're gonna have until the end, so.
Thank you, Scott. Any other council members have any thoughts? Everyone understand the resolution?
Yep.
Roll call, please.
Thompson.
Yes.
Arneson.
Yes.
Speedo.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Pepper.
Yes.
Fish.
No.
Rachel.
No.
Rupert.
Yes.
That resolution is approved. Next resolution we will need is to approve the 2019 proposed budget. And again, that would be, I'm assuming, Anthony, you want to,
I mean, if it doesn't matter, if the budget isn't a fixed thing, it can,
What we'd have is we'd have more revenues than expenditures in that Port Authority, but then as we go, we can even adjust that. I'm finding other way is a long way of saying that.
Amy.
Mayor, if I may, as Port Authority perspective, that is what would happen, because we don't know exactly what those funds would be, so it would be just to allow for a cash carry
Yeah.
in the Port Authority. So that's appropriate to not have a specific budget line item within the Port Authority, from my perspective.
so you want to leave it as it is? Okay.
Okay. So we're leaving the proposed budget as presented earlier this evening.
Yep.
Any questions on that?
You need a, okay.
Does someone want to offer?
I'll
that
make that,
resolution?
I'll make that resolution.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Anthony. Justin? Now, any questions pertaining to that? Roll call, please.
Thompson.
Yes.
Arneson.
Yes.
Speedo.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Pepper.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
Rachel.
Yes.
Rupert.
Yes.
That resolution is approved. And finally, we just need a resolution setting the public meeting for the 2019 levy and budget for Monday, December 3rd, 2018, at 6 o'clock PM.
I'll second.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Tom. Roll call, please.
Thompson.
Yes.
Arneson.
Yes.
Speedo.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Pepper.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
Rachel.
Yes.
Rupert.
Yes.
That resolution is approved. Next item on the agenda is the presentation of claims in the amount of $2,123,842.67. And if there's any questions, I would direct them to our City Finance Director, Bill Sonmore. If not, is there a resolution to pay
I'll
those
offer that,
bills?
Your Honor.
Thank you, Darren.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Brent. Roll call, please.
Thompson.
Yes.
Arneson.
Yes.
Speedo.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Pepper.
Yes.
Yes.
Rachel.
Yes.
Rupert.
Yes.
That resolution is approved. There are no board, committee, or department reports. Under reports from staff and administrative officers, first item is a resolution approving the updated purchasing policy, and I'll call on Finance Director Bill Sonmore.
You're gonna tell me to sit down now already. Before you, I've brought our purchasing policy. We mirror this to state law, basically, is kind of how it's tied in together. And the 2018 legislature approved increasing the threshold for bids, where we are required to go out and get sealed bids from 100,000 to 175,000. So I thought it made sense to bring forward to you to amend our purchasing policy that, so purchases under 25,000, you can just go out and purchase on the open market. You don't have to get quotes, you don't have to get bids. From 25,000 to now 175,000, you must try to get at least 2 quotes. If you cannot get 2 quotes for some reason, you need to document why that you couldn't get them and maintain that on file. Typically, you can get 2 to 3 quotes though, and that's typically what we do. So proposing that we change our policy to that, and you'll see you have a red line version of the previous resolution. The requirements of this are that the item needs to be in the budget, of course, that you as a council adopted it in the budget that was approved, and that that department checks with me as well, that yes, it is in the budget and you can move forward with that. And then purchases over 175,000 coming to the city council with that sealed bid process where come to authorization to go for bids, bring the bids back, have you accept them. So certainly following state law on that. So long story short, moving our policy to match what the state law is on that. So.
Thank you, Bill. And we would need a resolution approving that policy change.
Oh.
Thank you, Scott.
I'll second
I got a question.
Darren, yes, go ahead, Scott.
Bill, any idea how many more it'll take away from the seal bids, I don't know more. I mean, how many less seal bids we'll have by doing this? Just a guess. I mean, it's gonna free up some time, I'm sure, isn't it?
Brian, I know you're gonna feel me direct that right to you. I don't know.
I mean, is it 10 or 20 or 5 or?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay,
I
that's
couldn't
fine.
tell you, but our policy in the past is we always have a very conservative approach.
Right.
So we will go the extra mile and do extra
But
processes
it's-
for.
I think it's a better policy to do it this way, so.
All right, thank you. So we have a resolution and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Thompson.
Yes.
Ernestine.
Yes.
Speedo.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
Rachels.
Yes.
Yes.
That resolution is approved. Item number 2 is an update regarding Unique Opportunities Development LLC, and I'll call on our city administrator, Andrew Bremseth.
Yes, good evening, Your Honor, members of the council, thank you. Before you tonight is an update regarding the Unique Opportunities LLC development project, which was a multi-phase apartment complex development located at 401 South Tower Road. In middle of 2017, Unique Opportunities was granted a temporary certificate of occupancy, which means people can move into the building. There were some outstanding items that needed to be completed, but because those items did not constitute any life safety or any real major public concerns, they were allowed to temporarily do that with the notion that we're working towards a final certificate of occupancy and those issues that are outstanding would be resolved. As of the middle of this year, those issues remained unresolved despite several attempts by the city to work with the development group to remedy the situation. And after many months of no progress, we determined that there just was not going to be compliance on this property unless we took additional measures. So in July, I issued a 30-day notice to the development group that they were not in compliance with the TIF agreement based on the property being sold without the city's consent, which was one of the pieces of the development agreement related to the TIF, as well as outstanding building code and site issues. We had various grading issues. We had things that remain unresolved. There were things that were in place that were not part of the approved plan or site plan. And so it was told to the group at that time that if these things weren't remedied within that 30-day notice window, that we would seek to either revoke their TIF funding and or that temporary certificate of occupancy, which means there would be nobody allowed to reside within that building. I'm pleased tonight to inform the council that since that notice was issued in late July, that the development group put a new representative on the project, and we've had very good luck and cooperation with this new representative. I'm very impressed with the progress that has been made over the last month. There were a lot of things, a lot of heavy lifting that was done by the group to respond to the city's request and concerns of these outstanding issues. In fact, I'm very impressed because we all know how hard it is to hire contractors and line these things up, and this group was able to do a lot of those things. So the memo that I provided for you this evening outlines a few of the remaining things. Some of those things have been completed since I typed this memo and distributed it last week. And I'm happy to say that everything that has been identified as an outstanding issue has either been resolved or has a timeline that's been associated with it, and progress continues to be made on all of those issues. The purpose of this update tonight is to just inform you that there will be some other pieces coming before the City Council and the Planning Commission, and real quickly I'll highlight those. The property still needs to get an after-the-fact variance as the building encroaches into the setback area. We will need to consider and act on a plat that separates this building, which is phase 1, from the remainder of the property, because the development group does not plan to build any further phases of the proposed development. We will need to act on the consent to the assignment based on what I mentioned earlier, that provision in the development agreement. And we will need to take further action on the tax increment financing agreement, as that contemplates a 4-phase development associated with that TIF financing. So real quickly, the timeline, we have received the application for the partial variance and we're getting final information on that. The final plat is expected to be submitted this week, and we anticipate that will happen. There's been positive, it has been submitted, I hear, today, so that's positive. The variance request will go before the Board of Zoning on October 8th. That plat that we just referenced will go before the Planning Commission on October 8th. And then both the plat and the variance will come before the City Council at their October 15th meeting. There will also have to be an amended and restated TIF development agreement and the assignment of the development agreement, and that will come before the council at that same meeting in October. But from now until October, we will be working with Springstead, who is the financial advisor who ran the TIF analysis initially on the four-phase project, to make sure that we have the latest numbers so we can present that to you as a council, and that will be between now and October 15th. We're targeting that first meeting in October, having Tom Dunaway from Springstead come up and present to you what those implications would be. And just finally, I'd note that we continue to work closely with the developer to resolve these final issues. We still retain our ability to revoke the TIF funding and or the temporary CO if these things are not finalized. But I'm very optimistic that we'll get these done within the coming days, and that progress has been very impressive. There is a member of the development group here tonight. If you should have any questions, he would entertain those, and I would also be glad to answer any questions.
Just a question about the TIF agreement, Andrew. Since it is substantially changed and it wouldn't require any additional work, could we just get all the council members get a copy of the original TIF agreement so that we have something to work off of to show what the changes would be?
Yes, we can
Yeah,
provide
we
that.
have a redlined version drafted already.
So could we get that just in before the next meeting sent out? Please, thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Anthony?
So do we actually have a TIF agreement then, today? I mean, technically, if they defaulted, then do we actually have an agreement?
We do. We issued a notice of default, and they have time to remedy that default, and that's what the 30 days would serve as. And so they're working to remedy the default. Yep.
Any other questions? Thank you, Andrew. Excuse me. Next item is an update on the downtown ash tree removal. I'll call on Public Works Director Guy Cole.
Thank you, Your Honor. Back in the early 90s, the Lincoln Avenue streetscape was improved to what it is today, the 3-block area from Union to Cascade. At that time, there was ash trees that were planted along Lincoln Avenue, and it turns out that they probably weren't the right variety of tree to be planted downtown. Their canopy grew to be really large, so it was hitting on the building fronts. The root balls were growing extremely large, pushing up on the pavers and the tree surrounds. So we had made a decision back in 2012 to start each year taking out 4 of those trees. And we were doing that, and then it got to a point where we were seeing a lot more of the pushing of the pavers and the tree surrounds. And we actually have an ongoing insurance claim due to an elderly lady that fell. So with all those factors, we decided to look at removing all those trees at once. So we got a quote from Cars Tree Service that was favorable, and we scheduled that work to be done. It was done yesterday. They came in at about 7 o'clock, and they were done removing the 13 remaining ash trees by about 3:30 in the afternoon. There is a plan for replacement, and that will be undertaken in the next few months, and the mayor will have more information on that.
Sure. So we spoke about this, and so from 2012, there always has been a replacement plan.
Yes, and we have taken out 4 to 6 trees
And they've
each
been
year
replaced.
and replaced them. Yeah.
And the city arborist and also a local nursery gave some input on what would be a better variety of trees to be downtown. So we thought that it would be a good idea to have the public have the opportunity to have some input on what trees they would like to see, obviously within the guidelines of what arborists would suggest and for downtown. And then make an event of it. You know, it does look different. When I first drove by there, it does look different, and it's going to take some people some time to get used to it. It's a lot better the second time you see it than it is the first time you see it. But anyway, let's get the public involved in maybe some sort of online polling, what they want to see downtown, and then next Arbor Day, by next Arbor Day, which is April 26th, let's invite the public to be a part of that tree planting and get those trees replanted with the right trees that are going to last for the next 50 years.
Hopefully. Pop-up trees.
Pop-up trees?
Yeah.
Just a question, because I had walked the downtown with Guy on this and looked at the sidewalks, and I think you made the right decision. As tough as it is to see the trees gone, it was really causing a lot of damage. But do we have something in our budget for repairing those? There's many. I think we counted at least 5 or 6 that were elevated to the point where they were hazardous.
Right, and we've done some extensive work, took out, I think, 3 of the surrounds around some of the trees and re-poured the concrete, and then had to, with that, take out an extensive area of pavers and relay those. So, yeah, we used money that was set aside in the budget for that, and it wasn't enough, of course. There's a lot more to do down there, but we felt that we hit the highest priority ones, the highest risk ones. So we'll keep whittling away at the rest of them as we have time and funds.
Thank you, Guy. Thanks, Rod. There is no old or unfinished business. There is no new business that I'm aware of. The only other thing I wanted to mention is I have this nice new button. Some of you guys might have noticed this new button I have on. It just says 3 words. It says Fergus Falls, yes. And it represents, I think, a new way of thinking in Fergus Falls, a new mindset, not just from the city, but the entire community, that we're going to find solutions. We're not going to find problems, we're going to find solutions. And the next question you guys are asking is, where can you get one of these buttons? So I'm going to call on Bruce Thome. He might know where you might be able to find a button of your own.
Oh, yeah, button, who's got the button? All I want to say is this. For the last month and a half, we've met with all kinds of different groups, meetings, including the department heads of the city, including the planning commission. We've met with all the people that we can and talked about a YES program. And the YES means just simply we're going to get an attitude, instead of no in Fergus Falls, it's a yes, we can get things done. Whether it's within City Hall or within the community of city itself, we're going to be pushing buttons, and we're going to be pushing stickers for cars, and the police chief was even nice enough to say, you get me the bumper stickers, and I'll have them on all the police cars within 30 minutes. So we had one person ready to go early in the program. So we're going to have plenty of buttons available, and
I'd like verification on that last one.
how many buttons would you like? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 5, whatever you want, we got. How many you want?
3, please.
3, you can have all you want. We got buttons.
A dozen of them.
A dozen buttons, 1 dozen buttons. How many more buttons can we sell?
I'll think 4 or 5.
4 or 5 buttons.
I only got 11. I need one more.
Oh, Andrew, you need a couple buttons. You need a button. We expect you to wear buttons.
Bill didn't get a button.
The important thing, there's more to it than it symbolizes. You only want 1 button.
I'll take a handful.
Oh my God, a handful of sound buttons right and left.
Put them in there.
Put them in there. Put them on, some people. Get them on. Get them.
Thank you.
You bet, guys.
And Bruce, for the general public who wants to wear a button, where are they going to get them at City Hall here?
No, well, we're going to do them 2 places. You'll have them by the end of the week at City Hall, or you'll have them at our office at 128 East Lincoln at the Greater Fergus Falls. This is a combined project. It isn't a project of just the Greater Fergus Falls Corporation. It's a project of the city as well. We want to create an attitude, not that it's so, that's something, someone said to me today, how are you going to change your mind to Fergus Falls? I said, give us a chance. Give us a chance to change. And we will. And we're going to work. And we need the cities, all the department heads, all the employees of the city to be very, very cognizant of what we're trying to do. Because this is an important project. If we can change the attitude of Fergus Falls, and the reason I want to do it, I told you the last time I met with you. If a customer comes in and we're looking at showing a building or something, and we give them a negative attitude, we're shot. You don't have to So stick with us, we're doing well, it's going along fine. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for putting the buttons on. And we'll have buttons all around, we'll have banners, we'll have billboards. So the word is yes, Fergus Falls. Yes, thank you.
Thank you,
Ben-
Bruce.
Ben, I got
Yes.
Anthony too. Go ahead, Anthony.
Oh, go on, sorry, go on.
I just want to talk, a week from tonight, the WISSOTA 100 starts. And
Yes.
so,
Yes.
we're expecting 3,500 people the first 2 nights, and then 5,000 the second night, and 6,000 the third, or the fourth, I mean, the third night, 5,000, the fourth night, 6,000 people. So just drive careful, there's gonna be a lot of people in town. Might go a little later than normal.
They're gonna start getting into town on Sunday or today.
They're coming Sunday, the drivers are coming Sunday, and so the activity's gonna start next week, Sunday. It's gonna start increasing, it's just gonna get more and more till the following Sunday. So things will be changing around, there'll be a little more traffic, so just be careful and, come out and see the show if they want.
Did I hear 100,000 pre-sold tickets? How many? 100,000?
No.
That's what he said today.
No, I don't think so. 100,000, not 100, we're expecting 18,000 people.
Maybe 18,000.
I wish it'd be 100,000.
Yes. Yes. And
It's a good
deal no matter how you
look at it.
On the Yes campaign, the city has a billboard that obviously, I know Mike had, Morrison obviously does for us, and I wondered if that's something that we could consider splitting and getting a Yes campaign on the billboard, you know, as well. I don't know, I mean, I think Councilman Steele might have some, you spoke to Mike.
I called Mike Bortenson today, and I told him, you know, we'd love to see this Yes promoted on the billboard, and he said he'd be glad to put that on the billboard, and he only needs a week's notice with the design, and it will only cost us to change that billboard to the Yes part of it, $400, $395, and he will do the rest of the work, just donating it because he wants to see the city promoting this program. So it's a very easy thing for us, I think, to do in terms of cost-wise, and we could have that up there for running for 6 weeks. So I'd recommend that we do that.
I think great if Fergus Falls would obviously pay for it, but I think it's the city's kind of, I mean, it's all to promote the city.
Sure.
And if we're gonna change people's attitude, Fergus Yes is on a big billboard would be good.
So I want to
Just
make a yes
specifically.
motion for that, yeah. That we put that on the billboard, and we just have the staff work with that and make it happen.
Well, I think, Your Honor, members, I think the agreement that we have on that billboard is to split time with multiple entities, and I think that currently it's the EIC as the entity's turn, and they just recently put up a billboard related to the Ford Fergus Falls effort.
On that particular billboard, unless
Unless,
Mr.
probably, I
Bortson
assume we're
is
talking
willing.
about the billboard on the landfill.
Yeah.
The stationary billboard. So I would say that technically the EIC should probably take an action to put that as the billboard, since the agreement that we have and that we follow, the rotation that we followed it would be the EIC's time, so to speak, on that right now, and not necessarily the city.
Sure, but I think we could recommend it, you know.
Certainly.
As
I
a
just
council, we
wanted
can
that to-
recommend that, right? Yeah.
Can I just ask a question on that?
Yeah.
Would he entertain the electronic sign over on Walk-in Clinic?
I was gonna say, he's got other signs that he's more than willing to work with. the
I know
city.
that's not, we don't have an agreement on that, but maybe we could entertain something with that.
Do we still have, oh, sorry, one
Right.
question real quick.
Yep.
Well, go ahead, Amy, then I'll
Oh.
ask the question. You can
Mayor,
answer.
just to add on, Mike Mortensen has been a strong partner and does provide discounts on the electronic to the city. So, on electronic and other billboards as well, or other time on billboards. So I think he would be willing to work with, the partners that need to. Yep.
Do we still have the one on the east side of the road in Moorhead? That's now no longer, we don't have that one.
Could you maybe get an update by the next council meeting on that? Reach out and get our options?
And with that, we're adjourned.
There you go.